YouTube always changes. Whether it be how your subscribers see your videos. Seriously, YouTube, no one likes that fucking bell. To corporations polluting the trending page. I mean, come on, Stephen Colbert isn't even that funny. The toxic prank channels who clickbait and do anything for views. Seriously, why would you even joke about doing this to your kid? To the absolute laziness of reaction channels. YouTube always changes. Whether or not we agree with the changes, that's up to us. But for now, we continue.
Hello there folks, it's Nerdy John here, and today we are going to be looking at Rosario plus Vampire.
I repeat, the bombs are dropping. I repeat, the bombs are dropping.
So, funny story. It turns out that an alarm was set that if I ever utter the words Rosario plus Vampire review, that a bomb would go off and well, annihilate pretty much everything surrounding me. Luckily, my room is also a makeshift bunker apparently. However, I'm going to be needing this now. Shoot, what am I going to do now? Guess I could review Fallout.
The first Fallout was released in 1997 and asks an interesting question. What if not only did the Cold War continue, but the ideas of the 50s continued? What does this mean? Well, you know, the 50s art style, 50s idea of living, and the 50s idea of what the future would be like. This means, well, you have your lasers, you got your nuclear-powered vehicles. In the Fallout universe, oil has become scarce, and thus countries start fighting over it, mainly the US and China. This eventually leads to an event called the Great War. And no, I'm not talking about World War I. I'm talking about an event which pretty much every country that had a nuke launched it. But never fear, US citizens. For if you were specially selected by Vault-Tec, you can survive in one of their bunks. Now, what's Vault-Tec? Well, it's a company funded by the U.S. government, I believe. And, well, they provide shelter for people in case the bombs drop. Doesn't that sound swell? Well, in actuality, they're meant for experiments. Why these experiments are being conducted? I believe it's to judge the human psyche and, like, how humans react to certain events. And so, in a lot of the Fallout games, your character comes from a vault. Which vault that comes from depends on the game. Now, I'm sure you're wondering what the plot of this game is. Well, your character can either be a veteran of the Great War if you're male, or you can be a lawyer if you're female. Why are these options so limiting, you may ask? Well, you start in as a married couple, and which gender you pick is either the husband or the wife. Now, whichever gender you picked, your husband or wife's going to have their default name. And now, both of you have had a baby named Sean. And, your guys' life gets pretty messed up because, yeah, the bombs start dropping. And so, luckily, you've been selected for a vault. And, well, you go down in a vault, you think you're gonna be safe, but then you're asked to go under deep suspended animation so that way they can check and see if you have any bacterial infections, stuff like that, any viruses that may contaminate people. However, you wake up about 100 or so years later, and, well, you see your kid get kidnapped and your husband and or wife get murdered in front of you. Having seen this, you escape the vault and swear revenge and to find your son. Now, there's something important I need to talk about. Synths. Synths are robots. that are designed to act like humans. Whether or not it's their own created personality or the personality of someone else, that's up to the programmer to decide, I believe. Now, the Sims are created by a faction called the Institute, and the Institute believe that they're the only pure humans left in the Commonwealth, that everyone's E-rated and they can't be helped. So they've created the Sims in order to, I believe, wipe out the people of the Commonwealth so that way they can settle it and restore humanity. Another faction that needs to be talked about is the Brotherhood. Now, the Brotherhood are an already established faction in the Fallout universe, dating all the way back to the first game. They believe that technology should be safeguarded, that they should be the guardians of technology, and that common people shouldn't really have high tech because they don't understand it. And their views towards Sims are rather xenophobic in nature, and I think that's intentional by the developers. Another faction you'll find in the Commonwealth is the Minutemen. They're dedicated to helping the people of the Commonwealth however they can, whether that be fixing them with supplies, to protecting their settlements from raiders. And the final faction is the Railroad. Now, the Railroad is sort of like your stealthy type faction. They're dedicated to helping out Sims escape and gain new identities in the Commonwealth because they believe that, like humans, Sims have the right to exist. And you, as a player, get to choose which faction you want to side. Now, this will determine your ending, well, very slightly, of course. Like, say if you went with the Institute, which I have not done yet, to clarify, that's basically wiping out the entire, like, all the other factions and, controlling the Commonwealth yourself. And I believe that's the same with the Brotherhood of Steel, except with that one you're eliminating the Railroad, I believe. And then with the Minutemen and the Railroad, their ending is like working together with either the Minutemen and or Railroad to help out the Sims escape and destroy the Institute building so that way they can't succeed in their plans for control over the Commonwealth. But anyway, that we should probably stop it there unless you want spoilers, which I'm probably still not going to do. Let's get into gameplay. Now, an important note to make. Bethesda hasn't always been in control of the Fallout brand. The Fallout brand was originally controlled by another company, and thus they had a completely different style of gameplay. Now, what I'm about to describe here isn't how Fallout 1 and 2 were, but this is pretty much generally how all the Bethesda made Fallout games go, especially Fallout 4, and the other one we shall not speak of. Now, the Bethesda-made Fallout games are in the style of a third and or first-person shooter. However, what makes it different from something like COD is you have special stats. Special stands for strength, precision, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. See what they did there? And with these stats, you can upgrade them to about 10, all of them, although in a normal game, I don't think you can actually increase all of your stats to 10. You can definitely max out a few, but not all of them. Anyway, with the increased amount of these stats, you can gain perks and upgrade the perks. Now, these perks will affect gameplay, weapons, your character in general. For example, there can be a perk where you take less damage, and then ranging from you have better accuracy with a sniper rifle. Now, there's different ways to approach combat in Fallout 4. You can be an action hero and go gung-ho, or you can be stealthy, silently taking out your enemies from the shadows. And there's one mechanic unique to Fallout, the VAT system. In VATS, you slow down time and you select a specific body part of the enemy to hit. This can result in an instant kill, like if you aim for the head, and that does quite a bit of damage to it, or that can result in crippling an enemy limb, which can slow them down in battle or make them lose a weapon, which will help you out in battle. Now, because an enemy's limb can be damaged, so can yours. However, you can use items like stem packs to not only heal you, but to repair any limbs that may have been injured. Okay, I think that's enough for gameplay. Let's talk about the graphics. The graphics are a bit meh. To clarify, I'm using a regular PS4. And, well, the textures are a bit off sometimes. Like, they don't look like they're fully loaded in yet. And sometimes they're just not that detailed. Character models are okay, although they look bad in certain lights, especially the human models. Like, if you get like the writing just at the right angle, they look like zombies, and I'm not talking about the ghouls. The music in Fallout 4 is fantastic. You have selected tunes from the 1930s, ranging from the 60s, and they're just nice to listen to on your Vault-Tec radio, which is in your Pip-Boy, which is something you use to go for your inventory and stuff. Guess I should really explain that in the gameplay section, but I figured why not. And yeah, the music is fantastic. You just look up a playlist on YouTube and listen to some of the music. It's just fantastic. Now, Fallout 4 and Skyrim sort of have the same problem. Player choice. And what I'm talking about is the freedom of how to do a quest, and if they want to, like, let's say someone in Fallout 4 gives you a quest to, let's say, assassinate someone. You accept that quest, except when you go to assassinate the person, they're like, oh no, if you join me, I'll give you this instead, and like, I need you to also poison this dude. And there's not a lot of that in Fallout 4. It's like I talked about with Skyrim. It's more of a casual experience. And, well, it's fine, except if you're like a hardcore player choice, Fallout 1 and 2 type of person, this game might not be for you. But if you're a casual player and these types of games are something you want to get into but don't necessarily have the time, I think Fallout 4 might be the choice for you. I should note, I'm not a game developer, I'm not a game producer, I'm just someone who plays games. And when I talk about problems in games, that's subjective. And what I find as a problem, someone might find as a great feature, which should be stated. If you love everything in Fallout 4, that's fantastic. That's your opinion. You should stick with it. And if I've stated anything factually wrong, or if I didn't explain anything too well, just let me know in the comments, and I'll clear it up right away. This is Nerdy John, and you should be seeing live action footage now.
So, I just got back from the outside world, and I'm happy to say everything is now cleared up, which is good for me, because there was no food in here. So, this is Nerdy John, and remember, folks, I'm never going to review Rosario plus Vampire, so quit asking Evan and Mike. Oh, and, please, check out Fallout 4 if you're interested. Again, this is Nerdy John, signing out.
Would you like to ride in my Rocket 69?